High Ground Podcast. Uh, Super excited today because we have some, friends of the Star Wars TikTok community and made a little fan film. It looks like it was super fun. It looks like it's gonna be really good. So I wanted to talk about their experience making it and hopefully hype it up so that everyone can jump in as soon as it comes live for everyone. So, yeah, without further ado, we will be discussing that right here on the High Ground. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the High Ground Podcast. Yep. Happy to have you guys all join. Been following for a long time. And your guys' project looks super fun. So I'm excited to hear about it. But I want to start by having y'all introduce yourselves so you can let us know who you are, where we can find your awesome content. And let's see here. We always have to have a good icebreaker. So if you who in the film is most like their character in real life, and are they someone that you would actually like to be? And I think, yeah. So we'll stick with that, and I'll go to Charlie first.
Okay, hello. My name is Charlie. Um, you can mainly find me on TikTok sometimes, and the username is CharCharBinks. Um, I think the most like their character is probably Liam, who is not with us today, but Liam as Jakan, who is a Jedi Padawan. And I would love to spend time with him in real life. He would be a hoot. Yeah, quite the character.
Awesome. And how about you, Mads?
Um, my name is Madeline. I go by Mads. You can find me at Mads_Rogers on TikTok. I would say Caleb and Liam definitely both are most like their characters. Just like whenever they're talking together on camera, it was very like it felt like a real conversation. So
That's cool. That's how you know it's you got the good chemistry, right?
yep.
And yeah, how about you, Caleb?
Hi, I am Caleb Cook on TikTok. Caleb Cook, not the fake one. As for who's most like, I'd say it's probably either Nick or Charlie. That'd
Oh,
be something about their character, but yeah, I'd say
yeah, and
mostly.
you are. It sounds like you are chopping
God.
little bit choppy, but but yeah, we'll let you play around with it a little bit um, while we continue to chat. But yeah, so this one I didn't send out notes or anything prior to this because I wanted this one to feel more natural. Since you guys got to spend all this time together, I figured that probably wouldn't be too difficult. Um, but I'm curious about the journey of this. How did you guys get cast in it, and like where did you guys film it, and can you guys kind of talk about like the ramping up to this part? Did you guys have to memorize all of your lines and stuff in advance, and kind of what that was like?
Yeah.
And then and whoever goes, we'll do conversational.
Caleb
Okay,
is the director, so
just
maybe he wants
it's
to.
working.
It is working.
Uh, kind of.
Okay, I'll just enunciate loudly. A friend in high school back, I guess 2020
No,
is
Caleb,
Caleb
it
is still
it's
choppy.
cutting out a lot. Let me let's see here.
If he wants to tweak with it, I think I have a good understanding of how it came to be. I can start trying to explain.
Yeah, go for it, Charlie.
Yeah, so Caleb actually wrote this a very, very long time ago in high school, as he started to say, with a friend who is not a TikTok person, to my knowledge. Um, and it was for a school project. And then, now 3 or 4 years down the line, he's on TikTok and he's got all of these nerds who he can get to come across the country and shoot the film and make it real with him. So, yep, that is how that happened. I don't know if he wants to add.
No.
It might be your AirPods, Caleb. Do you have like wired headphones? It might be your AirPods mic.
So you swapped over to your phone? Because if you just have your phone, turn off the headphones. But
Okay. Can you guys hear me now?
yes.
Okay. This is just no headphones at all. I think if it's working, we'll just go with this. Yeah, about what Charlie said pretty much sums it up. The whole wrote it back in quarantine. I was bored for a school project. Then I had lots of Star Wars friends and mutuals that are also kind of passionate about filmmaking, kind of the same thing. So, kind of just brought them along, made them help me out.
That's cool. All right. So I know what was it like being in a house with all these different with all these different TikTokers and stuff. Was that interesting? Was anyone who's the messiest?
Caleb, you might want to mute yourself.
Yeah.
Just see if that. Yeah.
Great. Okay.
Oh, this works very well. Who's the mess? This is a good question.
Personally, house life was very interesting because I'm used to like having my own room in my own apartment, but having a lot of like nerd TikTokers in one room was definitely something that was very overwhelming at first for the first few days, and I kind of was like, it was a lot, but I think once we really started getting going, it was really fun, and we got to watch Kenobi together, which was cool. But yeah, it was definitely an experience, and it felt so different seeing everyone in person instead of just like watching videos on TikTok.
Yeah, I found it very strange because I didn't really know anyone going into it. Like everybody else, for the most part, with a couple exceptions, had known each other for a very long amount of time, or I don't know. I just did not. I just hopped in and started doing the thing, which was kind of weird. But then we all became really good friends quite quickly. So it ended up being really nice.
That's cool. So you guys filmed it at Caleb's house?
No, we filmed it at an Airbnb in Houston, Texas. Well, not at an Airbnb. We stayed at an Airbnb. We filmed it in Houston.
The wilderness of Houston.
Yes, in the wilderness of Houston. But yeah. We stayed in like a bungalow type thing. There was like a couple bedrooms, and then there was just a ton of people sleeping everywhere.
Mattresses on the floor, people staring on the couch. It was Charlie was on the floor in our room, and I had never met Charlie before, and I arrived in the middle of the night because my flight was delayed, and I woke up in the morning and there was a person just there, and I was like, hey. Yeah. But someone on the floor next to me, and I was like, oh, okay, hello. But it was fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we were definitely well over our limit of the allotted people for the house. So Denise, she's not watching this, but Denise is like the house owner, and she was like very adamant, no extra people. We went well over the amount of people that were supposed to be staying. So there were people crashing on couches and person sleeping at all points in the trip.
About how many people do you think did you have there?
We had 13 people there, I want to say.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I had kind of a similar experience with Star Wars Celebration, where I mean we had the correct amount of people staying with us, but it was just interesting when you meet these people you've been talking to online for such a long time, and you never know, are they going to actually be like that person? But fortunately, TikTok has a really cool way, like I mean, I've met YouTubers and stuff that are very, very different than their online persona, but I feel like TikTok brings the creators much closer to their audience, and so I think it's difficult to fake that, at least for most people. So in my experience, everyone was pretty close to the same. Was that your experience, or what surprised you the most about the people you met?
I mean, yeah, I didn't really have a frame of reference. I knew one person, and he was very much what I expected, but that's also, again, because, like, with TikTok, it's so not produced that, like, you kind of just, like, people. Also, I know so many people have been in, like, Discord calls with a ton of TikTokers randomly throughout the years. So I kind of knew what to expect, but
Yeah. I think most of us had been talking, at least on Discord, since like 2019. We've been on calls, I think. So a few people, I wasn't super close with a lot of people, but like the people that I did know, I was like, yeah, like I've been talking to you on Zooms and Discords and we played games together. Like I know what you're like. And it was pretty similar in person, I think.
Yeah, a lot of us had already met previously. There was a go do Star Wars Land at Disney World last summer. So I had met about half of the people that were already coming out, and then, like I said, the other half was just like we've been on calls 6 hours at a time, just like cranking out plans and planning and talking about stuff, and also just we know each other pretty well going into it, and then once we were there, it was like I know this guy, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And hey, at least I have a vote of confidence from Haley at Curly Coffee Works. Brandon is my first name for those of you who didn't know.
yes.
I did get told that I was taller than people expected, but I don't think that I'm all that tall.
How
But
tall are you?
last time I measured, I was 5'11", but I haven't measured in like 6 years. So
Yeah, no, I would have, in the nicest way possible. I was thinking short king. I was thinking like 5'6", 5'7". Oh, that's like,
so yeah, apparently that's a thing. And on the other side, Charlie, I imagine you are extremely tall. That's
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the vibe.
If you see pictures from set, it's quite funny sometimes. I'm a little taller than the guy who's supposed to be playing my senior, which is
Yeah, it's funny how Padawans were taller than their masters in just kind of on accident, but it happens.
Hey, listen, Yoda had to deal with that constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so give me the elevator pitch. If you were trying to convince people to check out this once it's finished, what would you say to them?
A lot of people that we've had reading it outside of like the group that wrote it is that it reads a lot like Lair of Grievous, the Clone Wars episode arc with Kit Fisto and his Padawan. Essentially, like the main pitch is it's two Jedi that are dispatched to this forest planet that are supposed to be retrieving an artifact that I found on Wikipedia called the Eye of the Sun, which is essentially this like souped up kyber crystal that lets a Force user harness the energy of a sun. It appeared in one Legends comic, so I found it. I was like, I'll run with that. And it's a race for both the Jedi and the Sith to the Eye and see who gets the Eye first. And they duke it out in the forest, and it's epic.
Nice. And oh, you're gonna say something, Mads?
No.
Okay. I they duke it out in the forest. So yeah, can you tell me about your guys' your characters and the main characters of the story?
yeah. I'll do Sarian and Ambrosius.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
Sure. Okay. Yeah, so I play Sari. And she's a little crazy. She's the younger Sith apprentice. She's very, very out there. Very angry little person, big person, I suppose. And she essentially she just does whatever Ambrosius tells her to do. And Ambrosius is big man, very scary Sith Lord. I think we were going somewhat based off of like the Malgus type, just like so bad that it's almost ridiculous. Yeah, and they're a little power duo. So
Awesome. And so Nick was the master of that.
yes, Nick Downs.
Yeah, unfortunately, he wasn't able to join us. Something came up, but I'm definitely gonna have him on for something else at some point because Nick's just an awesome dude. Yeah, go ahead, Caleb.
Yeah, so then when I was kind of designing like the two Jedi and their relationship, it was I think that we missed out on a lot of like Obi-Wan and Ahsoka kind of a duo in a lot of like Star Wars media, so I kind of wrote it as Hakoda, the master, is more of like a Obi-Wan, more analytical, kind of a witty response kind of person, whereas Jakan the Padawan is a let's rush in and fight this person right now. It's just like always chasing after him, just kind of like a reluctant dad chasing like a 5-year-old kid with a stick, kind of a relationship.
Okay.
If I could add to that, as someone that was not an actor and was on set for every single take of this movie, it's it's a short film. We don't have 2 hours to develop these characters and their relationships, but just by being there and watching them together, and people that like Charlie had just met a lot of these people just instantly, but like they all, with the relationship to the characters, it seemed like so well developed, like instantly. Like the chemistry was there, and it was really cool to see these characters that you're only going to see for 10-20 minutes, but they're really well developed, and I think people are really going to enjoy that.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
me
cool.
and Nick also, we spent like maybe 2 to 3 hours one night, like after a long call, I think talking about like lightsabers or some other logistics. We like hopped into a private chat and we just talked about the two characters and like what their relationship is like, and Nick kind of developed like a full backstory like in front of me, and then we just like bounced ideas off of each other, which was actually really neat.
That's cool.
Yeah, I definitely gave out an assignment for I told all of the actors to write a 2-page back that actually got done. I know I wrote mine, and it sounds like Nick did his. I haven't confirmed with the Padawans yet, but they're probably out there.
No, that's cool. When you have that, I mean, that's what makes your characters not be one dimensional. You have to fully flesh them out so that you are acting from a place of knowledge, and it's not just standard Jedi, which is really cool, and it always does come across. So I'm happy to hear that. Matt, I'm curious, what was your role?
Several things. I kind of just jumped into wherever I was needed. I cooked for the whole house at certain times, and then on set I was just there with the bug spray, sunscreen. I was taking notes, and I did slate at one point. I helped fix the costumes. I kind of just did whatever was needed at the time, so I don't know what my role would be called, but whatever.
In other words, Mads was the MVP of the whole trip because she was if you needed something, she was there with that thing 2 minutes ago. So just a very valuable asset to our team. It would if Mads was not there, just on the sidelines.
Yeah, that's awesome. That type of role is so it's so important. Like just cooking for people. For instance, when people are hungry, they suck. They things don't get done. They're not fun to be around. And so just the single act of like providing food for people just smooths over like 1,000 things. And there's so many other little examples. So that's really cool. Yeah. So when can we look for, or where are we in the process of editing the film and to get it out?
Yeah, we are. I'd say about 80% through our initial rough cut. So we've got scene 1 and scene 2 are pretty much good to go. Scene 3 is a touchy subject. We're still working on that one. And then scene 4 is just about done. So I actually just sent our first 2 scenes over to our composer, who's going to be... He wrote completely original music for the entire movie, and he's professionally score the whole thing, and it sounds sick. It's like, I'm very pleased with what he's putting together.
Awesome. So do you have a rough release date?
We're aiming for December, because that's kind of like when all the other, like, the sequels were releasing, and that's just kind of, it feels Star Wars to us, so we're trying to hit that December mark.
Okay. I'm really excited to check it out. All right, so give me some behind the scenes details or dirt. Okay, give me a story. Each of you give me a story from the weekend, something that happened that was funny, or something that was scary, or something that was surprising. I see the look on all 3 of your faces that you all have something in mind already and don't want to share it.
It's Houston in June. It's hot. It's hot, and our actors were such troopers. They were in like full on, Jedi robes, and Nick was in full black with like shawls. I don't know how he did that, but it was really hot. So we went through like 4 or 5 cases of water in the first like 4 days, and it was crazy. But definitely the heat was probably the worst thing that caused the most problems, because we had to like stop shooting at certain times to have everyone take a break and like go into the AC so no one passed out.
Yeah, Tuesday was definitely our worst day for heat. We shot a Monday through a Thursday, and Tuesday there was a scene where the 2 Jedi have to be sprinting, and so Liam and I were running sprints with a heat index of 102, and it was probably happening for like, I don't know, we were probably running for like straight, and then we just sat down and never stood back up that day, and then we just went home.
Yeah. Caleb that day was not. You sat down and were like, okay, we're good here, and then we were gonna go start shooting again. They had sprinted the same path like 6 times. There were just branches everywhere, so the shot wasn't framed correctly. And then we sat down, and everyone was like, nope, we gotta go. So we developed a heat plan later on that ended up working well.
There's a really hilarious picture that's on our Instagram right now. I think it's on our Instagram. It's me and Liam like sitting down on the beat red in the face with people fanning us, and we're just like passed out dead on the ground. It's a pretty funny picture.
Hopefully no one had to be taken off in stretchers or anything like that. So
Honestly,
that's a win.
some people came a little close, though. Honestly, there was like that on that Tuesday. I wasn't on set that day, and I was sitting in the backyard, very relaxed. I think I was like having a Gatorade. I was reading a book.
I think it was...
Nick like walks out, and he's like, "Charlie, don't freak out." And I was like, "Oh no." And then, everybody's like passed out inside. We think 3 people have heat stroke. There's heat exhaustion. Somebody's gonna throw up. I was like, oh.
I think Nick's the one that called it that day, because we got up to film after sitting, and Caleb was like, can I just lie down for a minute? And we were like, no, like no one's lying down. We're getting up and walking to the car. But it was, the next few days we went in like groups. So like not everyone was there, and people would go, we would finish shooting before 1 so that no one was out in the sun. But that was definitely, I think, one of the biggest hurdles. That and Caleb's costume, which I don't really want to discuss right now.
I know.
Yeah. If there was to be one thing, like the phrase, we need the jet glue, which is like Mads is in ballet, and there's like a fancy type of glue that like ballerinas use to glue their shoes together or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was magic for the costumes, because yeah, go ahead. You know it better than I do.
Yeah. I think it's like banned in some countries. I can't apply with it. But it's like this glue that you put on your shoes to make them harder, and it's like a chemical reaction. Like it creates like heat and like can burn you. And I had several burns on my hands from that trip because I was just like gluing. I took my elastics and ribbons off my point shoes because I had just come from like a ballet thing. And I was like using my shoe ribbon to attach shoulder straps to armor, and I would like glue it and then burn my hand off and then glue, knee pads back on, and not with this crazy glue, but it definitely held together a lot of those costumes.
That's awesome. Um, yeah. So both of you guys are ballerinas, huh?
Former. I'm not anymore, but I was for a time. Mads is like legit though. Mads is the real deal. So.
Starting professionally next year.
Nice. Okay. Well, if you ever tour through San Diego, let me know. I'll pop in.
Yeah.
But if I can add one more thing before we hop off the topic of the heat, just a like fun little image for set. I'm painted head to toe pink for this film. If you've seen any pictures of it, and that paint, not waterproof. So anytime I started sweating even a little bit, we had to like stop, and I had to be like fanned, and everything had to be retouched. So then if you can imagine, we all had to do our own stunts, obviously. Trying to do stunts in like 104-degree weather while trying to not sweat, while also trying to make things look realistic. It was bad.
Well, that last day when we were doing choreography, there's a scene where she gets force pushed, and we had to do a few takes of that. In one of the takes, she like slammed her head into a root, and it was like very convincing looking because she like slammed her head into a root, and we were like, "Oh wow, that was good," but she was not feeling good after that.
Yeah. I think that was the only close to actual like medical emergency we had. Yeah, we like wrapped the shot, and I was like sitting against the tree, and then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna stand up. I think
you mind muting Caleb?
Oh yes. But yeah, we'd like wrap the shots. We were all kind of chilling. I was sitting against this tree, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get up. And the two sound guys were the only people who were left around me. Our two wonderful boom operators, and everybody else had walked away. And I like got up, and then all of a sudden, everything just started going black, and my sound started getting really weird. And I just like tried to get them to pay attention, and I was like, I think I'm about to pass out right now. And they were both they were like, excuse me? And then I can't remember anything. And then next thing I know, there's just like, I think Caleb was like behind me being like, oh my God. And Nick was next to me, like rapidly fanning me. Like, are you dead? So that was very fun. It's really
that
good.
Was the day we also we had to rush those scenes. I think that's partly why you fell, because we got like kicked off of the set from construction people, because it was like an active construction site, or they were never there. So they just
Yeah, that upset us a little bit because they called it an active construction zone. And we're like, we've been filming here for a week. Where have you been doing construction here? But I digress.
That's funny. So I have never been covered head to toe in paint. However, at one point I was helping doing some volunteer work, and I was putting in insulation and T-bar like in a ceiling. Mm-hmm. And so you're handling fiberglass, which is not good or fun. So what they have you do is put baby powder on your skin and stuff so that it doesn't go inside of your bloodstream. It was I'm not doing that ever again. But this place is not built, and it was super hot. Sacramento also gets very hot in the summertime. So imagine what I would look like if I was first covered in baby powder and then started sweating profusely. I look like some type of paste. I look like Clayface from DC, just covered in like a white paste, and it was really gross. So yeah, I can imagine how you were feeling on some level, but yeah. That's cool. Now I want to kind of get into you guys find all these fellow nerds and stuff, but what brought you guys into Star Wars in the first place? And what made it enough that you wanted to go out and film this stuff?
Yeah. I mean, my dad has been at every Star Wars premiere since A New Hope. So he is like a massive Star Wars fan, and I think he was maybe like 4 years old when his dad took him to go and see A New Hope in theaters, and he's never missed a premiere since. And as soon as I was old enough to start going with him, it's like I would be with him for every single movie, everything. So he kind of always was like a massive nerd, and I think this is something that a lot of people echo. But it was definitely like my dad, and then around yeah, right around when I started college, I just remember I was like, oh, I haven't watched Star Wars in a while. Like, I wonder what's up with that. And then I watched, I think, The Phantom Menace, and then that was it. Now I own like 6 lightsabers, and I'm sitting on a Star Wars podcast. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, can I ask about the username?
Jar Jar Binks.
Yes.
Yeah, you can. That actually wasn't my username initially. I think I had a really like weird username. I think it was just my name. And then I was on a live stream one time, and this person was like, "Oh, if I give you like some gifts, will you change your username to like whatever I suggest?" And I was like, "Sure, maybe we'll see how this goes." And they were just like Jar Jar Binks, and I was like, "That's it. That's perfect. Never changing it." And it has never switched since. Neither has the profile picture, which probably should. But
All right. No, that's funny. I mean, I have been Darth Chocolate for a long time, and then I joined TikTok, and Darth Chocolate was taken, so I shortened it to Choco, and then this was a platform that started taking off. So it's now I'm just Darth Choco everywhere.
wait, so where did you start then? Like before TikTok?
Well, I wasn't really making content. I had been planning on it, but like Darth Chocolate has been my like that's my name on like the PlayStation, market. Like that's been my username everywhere for like close to a decade now. Um, but yeah, how about you? How about you, Mads? How'd you get into Star Wars?
I have actually a very controversial introduction to Star Wars. It was my dad. He's been a fan since forever, him and his 3 brothers. But he kept trying to get me to watch it when I was younger. But when I was, I think, 5 or 6, I walked in on him watching Revenge of the Sith, and it happened to be the scene where Anakin's on fire on Mustafar. And of course, that scarred me as a child because I was like, that's scary. I'm not watching that. So I go 15 years without watching it. And like I knew everything about it, like because my dad and brother talked about it all the time because my dad's just such a huge fan. So fast forward, I leave Pennsylvania, I move to Miami. No, sorry. My dad drags my whole family to see Force Awakens in theaters before I moved away. So Force Awakens was actually the first Star Wars movie I'd ever seen. And I was like, okay, like this is good. I like this. And then the second Star Wars movie I ever saw was did I watch? Yep, it was Last Jedi in theaters. And I saw Last Jedi and I enjoyed it because I had no prior knowledge of Star Wars. And I was like, this is a cool movie. So then I moved to Miami and Disney Plus comes out. And my dad was like, you have to watch Star Wars now. You have no excuse. They're all on there. Everything's on there. So I did. And I watched all the movies. And then I watched Clone Wars and watched everything else. And I was like, this is amazing. And I got a lightsaber. I joined TikTok and my videos went viral like instantly because it loves blowing up new accounts. And I met these people. And fast forward now, I'm like doing this. And I'm a huge super fan. And I've seen Clone Wars all the way through 13 times. So
13 times?
13 times. That's my biggest accomplishment.
Most impressive.
Yeah.
I am, well, just so you know, I have a lot of Star Wars background knowledge, and I love The Last Jedi. So
yeah. See, I still do because I have such a great experience with it. And before I knew it was people didn't like it, I was like, what? Like I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I laugh about it all the time because like I saw the movie with my buddy Austin, and as soon as the movie ended, because I remember people, there was complaints about The Force Awakens that I thought were weird. I turned to my buddy, I'm like, man, people are really gonna love this. And yeah, it's and it's been a struggle ever since. But no, it's my favorite. It's my favorite Star Wars movie.
That's why it's so controversial when I tell people, yeah, that's the second Star Wars movie I ever watched. They're like, what? Like, how can you like Star Wars? I'm like, I got into it eventually. Like,
How about you, Caleb? What got you in?
Honestly, for me, Star Wars has just kind of always been around. I remember one of my earliest memories is my parents went to a New Year's Eve party, and they took me with them, but I was the only kid, so I remember watching Return of the Jedi 3 times that night because that was the only movie that they had in their DVD player. So I don't know, I just watched Return of the Jedi 3 times. Like, get into it and invested until the Clone Wars movie came out, and that was like the best thing I'd ever seen in 2008. Looking back, it's not that great of a movie, but that's what clicked it for me, and I was like, oh, this is sick. And then, just kept up since then.
Nice. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of, of the Clone Wars movie, but I always say that Stinky walked so that Grogu could run. That's he's passed the torch on. That's awesome. All right, so can we look forward to these characters popping up again? Are there more stories? You're right.
It's written as a standalone kind of thing. There is certainly possibility for something else to come out of it, but I think it's more of just a contained one-off story.
Okay.
I mean, there was a joke though. Before Caleb had given us that document of writing like a paragraph or 2 pages about our character. I'm a bit of an overachiever, so before I even knew that was a thing, I think I had written like a 10-page biography on her just for the thrill of it because I like Star Wars, and I was like, how much random lore can I throw in here? And then there was like this thing where anytime something like went wrong on set, or there was a costume all of a sudden was very different than it was supposed to be, or lines were different, we were just like, oh yeah, we'll write that into the biography, we'll publish that later. So maybe the Sari biography will come out. Who knows?
That's cool. I do feel like that's one of those shameless plugs of like I want more acting jobs, but there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I always say if you don't get casted in parts, write them yourself and then make them yourself because you can't say no to yourself. So
Hence why I have the Force exists. And Caleb.
It's exactly why I have the Force exists. Yep.
And it's amazing.
No, I always laugh when like people fan cast celebrities and then people ask those celebrities, would you want to be this character? And you're basically like, would you want like a free job where you get paid millions of dollars? Like,
Yeah.
Of course they're gonna say yes. Like, I don't know. I always think that's funny. All right. Well, I am curious though if you guys let's say Lucasfilm saw what you guys did and they're like, okay, we need these people to write some of our stories, and just gave you permission. You could write it in any format. It could be live action, animated, a book, comic, whatever you want. What would you write? And yeah, what would you go with if you had the green light button?
Definitely Eye of the Forest 2. I don't know. Yeah, not that, certainly. But, man, that's a tough question because there's a lot of things. I'm an advocate for write new things outside of the Skywalker saga because the galaxy is so big that I don't think it needs to completely revolve around one family. So I'd try and stick with just a completely new person on their way, doing their thing. not exactly worked out the details, but it would be something kind of maybe a bound guy, kind of something like that.
Yeah, yeah, and I know I just kind of put you guys on the spot to like, hey, read a whole script right now. So I'll give you a little breathing room. For myself, if I were to write something that was like disconnected from it, I honestly think that a heist story would be really cool inside of Star Wars. And so the one that I've always wanted to pitch would, and I'm not even sure exactly where I would place it, but I would like for, it turns out that Maz Kanata has like a safe somewhere deep in her castle that's supposed to have like all the most valuable treasures and trinkets and things that that she's collected, because she just has a bunch of stuff. And I want Hondo and a few other pirates to team up and try to plan a heist to steal something from Maz Kanata. And I just think that would be ripe for funny action, intrigue. Um, Drunken Hondo is always good. So yeah, that's what I'm writing. Um, how about you guys? Any more ideas of what you would go
I
with?
think I have one. I ever since I saw the one episode in Rebels about a world between worlds, I've been so interested in that because I feel like we don't have too much information on that. Um, and I know as soon as they released like the Ahsoka like name, like the logo for that, I was like, that's the world between worlds. Like they have the circles and whatnot. So I think just the idea of that's really cool. Like Ezra was fully able to bring Ahsoka back to life through that. Like I don't know. I feel like there's so much more to explore with that.
Yeah, I love Force lore and could.
Yeah,
Yeah, we do need more Force lore.
I
Absolutely.
love Force lore.
Yeah. I mean, I like the time period of the Old Republic a lot, so I would like to do something set there. However, I don't know nearly enough about Star Wars lore as I should, so I'm not going to say any details, or else I'm going to get roasted by, I'm sure, you and your chat. But I have
Nicest chat out there, I promise.
okay, that makes me feel better. But I have Lost Stars right here, which I love, and like I love Dark Disciple. And like I'm just a sucker for like kind of like cursed romances that are like good, but also like, oh, this probably isn't gonna work out very well, huh? Um, so I would love to write another like romancy thing in Star Wars, but in the Old Republic, and that's about as specific as I can get right now. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. A romance novel. Yeah. So we have interesting you say that though, is it seems like we're getting something similar in the High Republic with the new
Mm.
ones that are coming out. It's uh last week on Diet and the Force podcast, we had Julie Christine on, and she was going off about, because they dropped the character pictures. One of them is a Jedi. His last name is Greylark, and I forgot his first name. But he looks like if you took a Disney prince and put him in anime. And so the thirst had is starting up all over the internet already. So I think that one is Convergent, so you can look forward to that. Also, I just finished The Princess and the Scoundrel. That book is coming out soon, and damn, that's a good book.
I pre-ordered it.
I have to read it.
Yeah. If you like, I mean, obviously it's not. We know where their romance ends up going, but it's beautifully written. She absolutely captures both Han and Leia's voice. The chapters switch back and forth between either of their perspectives,
Mm.
um, just in the coolest way. And if you enjoyed like the book Leia, the book Bloodlines, like there's political intrigue that's going on, and then of course they always end up uncovering like a hidden plot, but it's really good. It is very good.
Yeah.
So pick up that. Sorry, you reminded me. I didn't mean to just go off on a whole tangent about that book. I'm super excited to make a bunch of content talking about it. But I need to wait till the book comes out so I don't spoil things. Um, but yeah, all right. So those are largely the questions and stuff that I had. But um, I am curious, what is what's next for you guys? I mean, you already said it's not likely that there's going to be a part two, but okay, are you Caleb? Are you going into film just in general, or was this a one-off thing? Are you going to be making more?
So yeah, I mean, I think we've largely decided to kind of band together, and we want to keep doing this as much as we can. Not only contained within the Star Wars universe, we just kind of want to make just a bunch of nerd stuff because we like it. We're in the process right now of like developing we have a production studio, so we're coming up with a name for that, and we're coming up with our logo. And yeah, we plan to keep releasing more stuff just because we all had a blast. I mean, I'm speaking for myself. I had a blast, and it appeared that everyone else had a blast while we were filming it, and I've had a great time like going through pre-production, production, and now we're in post-production, and now that I've learned all of these things doing it for the first time, like we can do it much better the second time, I think.
Nice. And Charlie, is the aim to be a movie star now?
No, I don't know if that was ever really the aim. I mean, maybe. Isn't that like, I think a lot of people would like to be actors. It's fun, but no, I'm in university right now. And I also like dance on the side. There's a lot of stuff going on. Just gonna keep acting until it stops being fun or I stop being able to do it. So yeah, hopefully gonna work with Caleb again. Now that I've said that, he has to do it. So.
Yep.
It's binding.
Yep.
Awesome. And Matt's going off in the route of professional dancing, but
Yeah.
the dance choreography might help out.
I
If you
mean,
come back.
yeah, my, you know, people see ballet differently, but it's very hard. I'm used to long days, long hours. So on set, I was able to stay, every time we were there. Like I was one of, I think it was me and Caleb were the only two that were at every single take of every shot, and our cameraman, who's amazing, Jaden, awesome. But I think that background and like, dealing with like professionalism and like company life and how things are run on timelines, and you have 3 weeks to learn all this choreography, put it together and perform it. So I think the film set was very similar to that. And I'm not going to be able to dance forever because my body can't take that. So after this, that was something I really enjoyed and was interested in. So we'll see.
Awesome. All right, perfect. Well, so I just got asked, hey, where's the link to the fan film? So the fan film is not out yet. It is not out yet. And I'll probably have some of you guys back on, once it does come out to kind of, build it up. But I really wanted to just, talk to you because it looked like so much fun, and I wanted to, get a sense of that experience. Um, but yeah, I mean, I want to thank everyone, for coming out and talking and hanging out with me. I'm curious on what you're most excited for that's coming up, in the world of Star Wars. Are you mostly excited for Andor? What's your excitement level? Or is there anything else that you're looking forward to?
Andor. When I saw that trailer, it's beautiful. Like there's just the use of they're using more practical sets on this set, and so it just looks more real than what we've seen in like Kenobi and Book of Boba, because they were using the screens just a little bit too much. Yeah. And Andor, like the director said that they were taking it practical, and that is music to my ears. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andor looks amazing. Like I'm so excited. Even the first trailer they dropped however many months ago, that was like the shorter one. I was floored. I was almost more excited for that than I was for Kenobi, which yeah. But I know the Quantic Dream is working on the one video game that they haven't really talked about much yet, and I love Quantic Grid Dream as a game production company, so I'm infinitely excited to see what they come up with.
Yeah. No, that they pushed it back, like way back. But we'll see. I eagerly await more information on that as well. How about you, Matt?
Yeah, I'm really excited for Andor. That second trailer, my dad has COVID right now, but he texted me from the basement and he was like, I just watched it like 6 times. And I was like, I know, like it's insane. So I'll definitely be watching that like as soon as it comes out. But my most anticipated project since it was announced is Ahsoka, just because I saw the logo and I was like, World Between Worlds. I've been saying this since Rebels. I want to know where Ezra is. Thrawn, maybe, I feel like that's going to be huge.
Yeah, I'm almost afraid for live action Thrawn because
I'm a little scared.
the thirst for Thrawn is already too high. It's weird. Uh, no, I'm in the same boat. Super excited for Andor. Excited to see Saw Gerrera back in there. It seems like we're going to get a lot more of the building of the Rebel Alliance. Also, hopefully, this will lead us to the beginning of the paths that we saw in Kenobi. I hope that we kind of see the formation of that. That might be interesting. Mon Mothma looks amazing in there. The fits. I look forward to the next Star Wars Celebration because there's going to be some awesome cosplay. Also Andor, the drip, like the jacket and all that stuff. Like the sets all look amazing, and so does all the costuming stuff. So I'm really excited. But the thing I'm most excited for is the Acolyte. But for me, it's one I'm coming into with nothing. You know what I mean? Like I know so little about what it could be about, or have so little as far as expectations, for it. And I think that's really, I think that's where the best projects come from.
Yeah, that's another thing I'm excited for, just because it's like I said earlier, it's like not really, to our knowledge, not really connected to like the Skywalkers at all. So it's just this completely removed story that's still set within the universe. I don't know. I just eat that stuff up. It's so good.
Plus, more dark side lore, and that's what I'm into. We don't have much of it in canon, at all right now. So I'm excited to see that. But awesome, yeah. And so thank you guys for coming out, for joining me. Let's go around one last time, and you can let everyone know where we can find you and your awesome content. And then again, when we can look forward to the film and a trailer for it, and if you have any final thoughts or things you want other people to know. I'll go to Mads first.
Yeah, you can find me at Mads_Rogers. Just look out for this film because a lot of work has gone into it, and I think it's gonna look really cool.
Awesome.
You can find me. Sorry, my bad.
I was gonna call you anyways. Go ahead.
You can find me on TikTok at sharshar.binks, I think. And yeah, I think trailers coming out like late fall. Movies coming out December, so look out for that.
Yeah, you can find me, Caleb, at the real Caleb Cook on TikTok. Just confirm what Charlie said. We're trying to spread out all of our content so people are always just keeping us in the back of their minds and just care, generally. So we've got a few more posters to release. We've got a trailer that'll be coming out in the fall. And then, yeah, we'll be having our release sometime late December. And if you want to follow and see like our updates, we'll post stills, that kind of stuff. You can follow us at Eye of the Forest Film, no spaces, on Instagram. So that's where we'll be posting all of our updates. Look out for the trailer. It's got links to our TikTok, all that good stuff.
Awesome. Beautiful. All right. Well, once again, thank you guys. It's been a lot of fun being able to talk to you guys. And I think this is my first time actually talking to any of you. So it's always cool. And I'll have you guys all back on at certain points with whatever other things you want to discuss. I might have to reach back out to Caleb because we are going to be talking about Return of the Jedi soon. And I know you've seen that quite a bit.
At least 3 times.
Awesome. All right, everyone in the chat, thank you guys for coming out. With Peppa Died in the Force, Vin Skywalker hanging out here. There is Zell, Cal4. We have Droidy Jedi, Saint Pat, H3 Zon, uh, Darth Owls, sorry, Forward to the Black. Bunch of awesome people hanging out. Thank you guys so much for joining. But yeah, that'll do it for now. So I'll give everyone their evening back, and may the